Learn how to start making real money from your blog on today's episode. Today's episode is brought to you by Novo, the no-fee business bank that refunds fees charged by other ATMs, even internationally. Get $25 when you sign up today at servemaster.com/Novo. That's Novo.
Are you tired of dealing with your boss? Do you feel underpaid and underappreciated? If you want to make it online, fire your boss and start living your retirement dreams now, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Serve No Master Podcast, where you'll learn how to open new revenue streams and make money while you sleep. Presented live from a tropical island in the South Pacific by best-selling author Jonathan Green. Now, here's your host.
We've had a little bit of a squall. The rain seems to have calmed down, so I'm upstairs under the grass roof. The roosters are going crazy, and it's a beautiful day because it's not so hot. Usually, when I record these podcast episodes, I sweat through my entire shirt and often all the way through my shorts in one of these recordings because I walk around and I give you guys 100%. I walk anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 steps each time I hang out with you guys because I'm just trucking, trying to get a little exercise so my energy stays up while we hang out. And today we're talking about something exciting. I love talking about blogs because that's how I got started. I wrote my first blog post in 2005, started my own blog 2007, made my first dollar in 2009. Not really a great financial success, but it's how I got interested and it's where I began. And so it's something I've always been passionate about. And there's a reason that blogs are a popular business model. It's a popular business model. When I started my first blog, I assumed nobody could see it. I thought it was just like a diary. And so I treated it that way. Learned my lesson. It's not a diary. People can find it. And that's what you want. But I didn't know. That was 15 years ago. The beauty of blogging is that you can do whatever you want. You can have really serious news articles. You can have videos. You can have pictures. You can have just audio. You can write really personal, anonymous stuff. There's a whole spectrum from the professional to the personal. It's all about what matches who you are. And it's a beautiful model, and it can be very, very profitable when you approach it with that mindset. One of the things that I discovered, and I did not know these people existed, was when I started joining masterminds and meet people in other industries, that there's a whole industry built around blogging where people brag about how much money they don't make. And I'll tell you right now, if that's who you are, you're in the wrong place. My blog, my posts generate the money that feeds my children, that pays for their clothes, that pays for our home. Blogging is not my hobby, and so I don't really understand that community. I've never been a part of it, but I'm very aware that it exists, that they have conferences where people show off their blogs that make no money, and they have to work a full-time job that they hate in order to do a blog that they love, when you can do both together. And what we're going to talk about today is financial success from your blog, how to approach a blog as a business, and we're going to talk about different business models that can generate the most money. Now, number one is the flip it model. This is where you buy a domain, build out a website really quickly, lean, mean, green, get it generating some revenue, and then you sell it for anywhere from 36 to 42 times monthly revenue. This is where a lot of people start. This is a standard business model. There's a lot of cool training about this. This isn't something that I do specifically. I know a lot about it because I use a lot of techniques from that world, and I have some links to some training in the show notes and below this episode that talk about that specifically. So you can go to training from people that I recommend who I learn about the business model from. And the idea is that you run a big payday cycle. So you build up a website and you get it making $500 a month, and then you can sell it for $20,000. That's a really big payday when you're starting out. This business model tends to appeal to people who are younger, people in their 20s who have a lot of time or they're in college. This is a great way to start a side business, get that big payday, and then they can use that funding to build their next business. So they can build up their war chest. And who do they sell it to? People that are my age in their 40s who buy one of these websites for $20,000 and grow it into a website that goes from $500 to $2,000 a month, make their money back in 10 months, and now they're pure profit, and now they have a business they can keep growing and growing and growing. And the people in their 20s who sold a bunch of those websites, once they sell 5, 6, or 7, they become the ones who are buying websites from other people. Because first you learn how to build a website up to $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 a month. Then you learn how to scale it up to $10,000 a month or $100,000 a month. So there are two slightly different processes, and people tend to learn one and then the other. The most common form of this is the Amazon affiliate site. You choose a tiny niche. Maybe you have an entire website that's just dedicated to indoor air conditioners, those standalone air conditioners that for some reason are more expensive than wall units or split types or central air conditioners. And your whole website only appeals to a certain number of people, but you have really good articles. You generate traffic because people search for those specific terms. They go, how many horsepower do I need for my room? Or what's the difference between this type of air conditioner and another type of air conditioner? And so you really just focus on a small segment. You're generating those affiliate sales, so your revenue comes from Amazon. And then you eventually sell that website. Most often, the most common place to see this, where they're bought and sold, is a website called Empire Flippers, which is owned by some guys I know who live near me. I see them once or twice a year when I'm traveling to conferences in the Asian region, and they've just really blown up and they really dominate this space. The reason people use a service like this is because they're a middleman. What they'll do is assess the website that's for sale. They'll check out the traffic, they'll check out the numbers, they run it through their entire process, and then they can certify. Because what you don't want to do is say, this is my domain, these are all things I'm selling, because you don't want someone to just see what you're selling and reverse engineer it. So there's a layer of secrecy before people can actually see the site, before they enter the due diligence phase. So not everyone sees what you're selling, and that's the whole process. Now, the benefit of this is that you can have a big payday. The downside is that it's completely controlled by Google and Amazon. All you are is the middleman between searches on Google and sales on Amazon. This is a market that can go up and down. This can be very, very, very lucrative. I'm not saying that it's not. I have a lot of friends in this market. I have some friends who have big successes in this market. I just want you to understand that this is one of those popular ways to monetize a blog, and it's really built around the exit. There are certain businesses that are built in Silicon Valley that are non-sustainable. The only way the investors will ever make their money back is if the company goes public or if there's an exit, if the company gets bought. Otherwise, they'll never get their money back. And so they're built around this business model, the exit. And that's how these sites are usually built. It's not to say that you can't take one and build it over 10 years into a multi-million-dollar site. You absolutely can. It's just not the most common way. Most common, these types of sites are bought and sold several different times throughout their lifespans. The second way to monetize your blog is with Google Ads, where a lot of people start. And we've probably all seen those ads, and these ads have gotten more sophisticated. When I first started out, if you allowed Google Ads onto your website, there would be a little column with 4 ads that would appear next to your post. And sometimes people would have one in the middle of their articles that was sideways, and you wouldn't even realize that it wasn't part of the article, and you'd accidentally click on it. With this business model, you get paid every time someone clicks on your link. So your payment here is a ton of small transactions. That means you need high traffic. The money comes really through volume of transactions. The more people who visit your site, and this is where you really know your numbers. You go, oh, out of every 1,000 visitors, I get 17 clicks. So the 2 ways to make more money is to boost the number of clicks per 1,000 people or to increase the number of people visiting your website. This is where a lot of people start. Very few people stay here for a long time because eventually, as you have certain numbers of traffic, as you have certain amounts of money in transactions that are going through your website, you can approach networks that pay you more or have better paydays or have better numbers. And you change, so you start doing the same kind of thing. Now, I'm not a big fan. I've never been a big fan of this type of traffic because what you're doing is taking visitors and selling them as quickly as you can, as cheaply as you can. That's really what you're doing. This is arbitrage in its purest form, which is buying something and immediately reselling it. I don't really believe in that. I don't think this is the best business model because I like relationship building. I like longevity of the relationship. So you'll notice that I use some of the other business models. I don't like that you don't have a lot of control over which type of ad show. I've seen before where someone has a blog post talking about how they hate a particular chair. They bought this chair didn't work, it hurt their back, the chair broke underneath them, it hurt their leg. And then on the side is a Google ad for that chair. It's tone deaf because it's done automatically. Now, that was years and years ago. It doesn't happen as much anymore. You can say, oh, I don't want this type of ad, I don't want that type of ad. You can have a little bit more control, but you have to pay a lot of attention if you really want to control that, because really what they do is scan all the words on the page and the software does a best guess. And it's very intelligent, it's smart, because they have millions and billions of pages that are doing this, but it's still not you. You're not choosing what's there. So you can have ads that aren't fully in alignment with your messaging, that are slightly off kilter. Very rarely will it be the example of the exact 180-degree opposite. You're talking about something you hate, and then they have a link to sell it. Usually it's going to be, you're talking about how you only believe in fixed gear bikes, and then there's an ad for a BMX bike. My friend is into fixed gear, and there's all these rules. I don't even know why they call it fixed gear. When I was a kid, it was called one gear. When I was a kid, most of us had bikes that were a 1-speed. Then you got a 3-speed, or 7-speed, or 12-speed if you were really lucky, or 21-speed if you were amazing. I remember going from a 1-speed to a 3-speed. Wow. Going up a hill is so much easier, but fixed gear, they made a cool name to replace this bike only goes 1 speed. It has no brakes. Having no brakes, instead of being a liability, became a feature. It became something that's desired. So Google Ads are a good way to get started, but you're only making pennies for each person who visits your website. So you need massive, massive amounts of people actually visiting so that you can achieve your desired result, which is making money from your website. The third way you can monetize your blog is with private ad networks. This is where you move next. This is the next logical transition for people that have started with the Google Ads. They're looking for something that's a little more exclusive, that pays a little bit better numbers, and it can be a fast way to boost your revenue. Depending upon how much money you're making each month or how much traffic you have, you can get onto networks that wouldn't take you when you were a beginner, and they'll pay you more because they have more exclusive content. They pay a little higher because they know your traffic's a little more premium. You have a little bit more credibility because you have an established track record. Google will take basically anyone. These networks, they're a little more exclusive. They follow the exact same model of they pay you per click. it's important to know that these networks, because they're more exclusive, they're going to track the quality of your traffic. The quality of your traffic means, are you sending people that actually go and buy stuff or actually join the surveys or whatever you're recommending, whatever you're sending people to? When they click that link, do they take action or do they maybe click the back button? They don't want that back button traffic, which means you get pushed off that network. So there is, it's a little harder to get in and then it's a little harder to stay in. You have to have what they're looking for. You have to have that level of high quality. The advantage of private ad networks is that you can have more control over the ads that appear on your website so that you can make sure that what you recommend is in alignment. And you can also then target your traffic and be specific. Go, okay, this is a great ad that I want to send traffic to. So I'm going to write a blog post that leads people from a search to this click. So now your posts can start to pre-sell. They're going to be a little bit more custom in the way you write your articles. So now, as you're doing arbitrage, you actually take people through a process because you want them to then buy that product or click that link or go through that survey, whatever you're sending people to. And this brings me to number 3. This is an important thing to understand, is the difference between CPA and CPS. There are a lot of different names for this. CPA means cost per action. This is where you get paid before someone makes a purchase. My first experience was this, as I first built out a website, the very first time I was playing with CPA networks that would give away gift cards. It was all about how to get free gift cards for everywhere from Piggly Wiggly to American Express to Walmart. Unfortunately, I was a little too good, and when my website was ranking above Walmart for Walmart gift card, they sent me a C&D letter, as you do. Now, I wasn't doing anything illegal, but I certainly didn't have the funds to go to court against Walmart for recommending these gift cards. And I would get paid depending upon the promotion, either when someone entered their zip code, when someone entered their email address, or when someone entered their full mailing address for where to send that card. And what they do is after you do that, they say, okay, to earn your card, you have to do these actions. You have to join Netflix. You have to join this other promotion. You have to do this other thing. See, it's not really a totally free gift card. You have to join a bunch of other stuff, do a bunch of free promotions to earn the points towards it. That was how it was. Again, this was about 9 years ago. That was my first foray into this world. And the payout ranges. It could be as low as like 12 cents or as high as $45. But usually $45 is for a lead for surgery. So if you send a submission and someone goes to get information about that lap band surgery, which costs thousands and thousands of dollars, then you get paid whether or not they buy. So that's the key element here. It's about how much do you believe in your traffic. If your customers actually buy stuff, well, then you're getting paid less than they're worth. If out of every lead you send me, I make $5 per lead, I'm not going to pay you $5. I'm going to pay you as little as I can. The difference is my profitability. That's how every business works, which means if you were selling your own thing, you'd make a lot more money. And that's something to keep in mind as you move forward with growing your blog and growing your profitability. Cost per sale is what I'm much more interested in. That's where I get paid if someone buys something. I recommend products that I use all the time. I have a review for the shopping cart I use, Pay Kickstart. I talk about my process with them, my experience with them, how I started off as a beta tester, why I switched from another platform to them. All of those things were part of my experience. And that's because I want someone who reads that blog post to try out the software. I don't get paid if you visit the website. I don't get paid if you submit your email address. I only get paid if you pay them. I get a percentage of the sale. Now, I've been using Pay Kickstart for years now, years and years. And I still use them. So it's an easy recommend. It's not as though I'm recommending a tool I don't use. If you buy anything from me, you'll see that's the platform that processes all my payments. So I'm a user. Reminds me of that commercial when I was a kid that says, I'm not just a president of the hair club for men, I'm also a member. And that's me, right? I don't just recommend stuff, I use it as well, which adds a level of authenticity, but I only get paid when there's a sale. And that means that I have high value per visitor. So if I send someone, they make a purchase, I get a high payout, much more than I would if I was on a CPA network. CPA only really works if you have super high volume. CPS, which has loads of different names, but where you get paid a commission on sales, works based on the quality of your traffic. So if you have buyers, if people visiting your website then go and make a purchase, that's where you want to be. Going back, we talked about the very first model where you're sending traffic to Amazon. Amazon only pays based on the sales you generate. So it's the same thing. But they pay such a low commission, you have to be high volume and high quality. So when you're choosing a network to join, and you might jump to a CPA network, which is beyond. So Google Ads pays you per click. Private ad networks pays you per click for more exclusive offers. And then CPA networks pays you for that next step beyond the click, which is where someone enters their email address or their zip code, where they fill out some information. And then the network beyond that, CPS or cost per sale, is when someone actually makes a purchase. The fourth way to generate money is to build a list. And in my opinion, this is absolutely the best way to make money from your website. Sure, I make money from my reviews. I have some articles that generate sales. I got an email last night. Someone clicked the link and made a purchase from one of my blog posts last night, and I made $95. Really exciting. because it used to be 75. I got a raise. That's how I found out. So my commission, when I first started recommending Bluehost, was $65. I emailed them. They bumped me to 75. And now they've bumped me to 95. And I didn't even realize it. Very exciting. It made me feel really good. And guess what? I have a lot of websites hosted with Bluehost. That's why I recommend them. I've been with a lot of different hosts over the years. And for my non-primary website, so if you're a beginner, then that's what I recommend. So I use it. Again, it's easy to recommend something you actually use. It's easy to maintain your integrity. So even though I make money from those reviews and $95 is cool, the real money is in building a list. Absolutely. I'm an old school email marketer. The beauty of having an email list is that you get multiple chances. So with these first business models, every single one of them, someone visits your website, clicks to another website, and you're never going to hear from them again. When someone's on your email list, you can send them dozens, hundreds, and even thousands of messages over the lifetime of your relationship. I have people who've been on my mailing list for almost a decade. And an email a day for 10 years, that's 3,650 emails. Whoa, that's a lot more chances than just one single click. And that's why you can develop real revenue. Sometimes people need time to make a buying decision. Sometimes they need to ask a lot of questions. People email me and ask for recommendations all the time. They go, Jonathan, I'm thinking of buying this software. Here's my situation. Do I need it right now? When I get that email, 80% of the time, the answer is a no. It's not always the right fit. Sometimes it is, but oftentimes I'll say things like, oh no, that's not right for you. If you read my Grammarly review, I tell everyone to get the free version of Grammarly. Very few people need the paid version. That recommendation is not in my financial best interest, but it's in my customer's best interest, and that's relationship building. If you give people really good information over time, then they'll buy stuff through your website more than once. And even if you are just a niche review site, building that list and emailing those people over and over again will increase the overall value, because some people need to spend a few days thinking about it. I very rarely make spontaneous buying decisions. I usually do a bunch of research, even when I'm buying a video game. So every week I have an alert that tells me which video games are on sale this week for download. I then go through them and see which ones I already own. And I have this app that tells me the lowest price they've ever been. So sometimes something's on sale, but it's been on sale for lower in the past. I go, okay, I'll just wait for the better price. I have enough games that me and the kids can play for years without needing to get a new one. I stop like this, so I'm always stockpiling for the future. So we're future-proof for games. Because sometimes you get locked in your house and you're not allowed to leave for weeks or even months, and having that stockpile there is really good. When I get that alert, I then go and we'll read a bunch of reviews, and then I'll watch a playthrough to see what it looks like. Sometimes I can't tell. There are some games now, there's a new trend. Some companies make all their games online only, so you can only play them when you're online. Thanks, I don't have internet during the day. So those games don't apply to me. And I don't want to accidentally buy one of those. I'd be so upset. So that's something that I really, really look for. Is this a game I can play offline, single player, or is this something I can play two-player cooperative on the couch? I need to know that. So I do that research, and that's part of my process. I'll watch some videos. So there's time. Most times when a game is on sale, it's on sale for 1 to 2 weeks, sometimes a month. So I have time to make that decision. So even though I'm making a time-based purchase, I still go through this entire research process, and that's how everyone is. So someone might visit your website because they're thinking about getting a mortgage on their house. You have a house mortgage website, which is awesome, very profitable. If you get their email address, you can communicate with them. You can ask them more questions, and they might not be ready to click something today, but in 4 or 5 days, they'll be ready to. They're going to read more of your articles. They're going to connect with you more. And then they'll go, oh yeah, you answered my questions. Someone recently reached out to me via email. They wanted to ask me about a coaching package and some other things. We ended up on a phone call where I answered some questions, and then they bought one of my more expensive courses, which was awesome. And then they're going to buy coaching once they go through that course. Wonderful, lovely. And it came because of relationship. It came because they got multiple touches, several different emails, and some things I showed in several different of my books built that relationship up. And so that's why I'm a big believer in list building, because it just gives you more shots. Let's say you go to the county fair and you want to impress the person you're with. You want to win them a teddy bear or one of those stuffed animals. We know those games are rigged. We all know that the darts are not sharp, which is why now you're allowed to bring your own darts, but I've never seen anyone actually do that. I've just heard that. They have to let you. Would you rather get one dart, one shot to pop that balloon, or would you rather get 100? That's the difference. Short-term payout is lower, right? Because you're not going for that quick win. Instead, you're building a relationship going for the larger payout over time, believing in the value of the relationship, the value of longevity. And so this is a different approach. Now, of course, you can have all of these different processes and different methods throughout your website on different places. So I have pages that are all about capturing that email address. And I have pages that are all about a recommendation. You'll notice that I have a very specific format to every single episode. I've always had this format. It goes introduction, commercial, where I have a link that if you click and you buy something, I get a commission, okay? That's a CPS. That's how that works. At the end of every episode, I have a join my list call to action. Hey, if you want this freebie, go to this page. That's the process. So you can have both at different places, whether it's in your podcast or in your blog. The fifth and final way to monetize your blog is a toolbox page. If you listen to our last episode, the first in the blog profit series, this is the second of the blog profit series, you heard me talk about how a toolbox page is the most profitable page on your website. Absolutely. Especially if you're a content blogger. If you're just doing pure arbitrage, people might read an article, click a link, and disappear and not visit your toolbox page, but most people will. An example of this is I was visiting one of those websites recently. I've been trying to buy a rowing machine. I bought a rowing machine from my neighbor for $10, and guess what? It's a $10 rowing machine. It has one setting, hard. It is so much resistance that I don't know how many pounds it is, but it's a lot. It's not like rowing a boat at all. It's like rowing a boat through concrete. And I like it, but it's really, really tough. It doesn't give me that experience because I want to get better and better at rowing because I love being out on the water. So I was looking at different types of rowing machines. I didn't even know there's like metal rowing machines, battery-powered rowing machines with TVs built in them, ones that connect to your iPad, wooden rowing machines with water inside of them. Very interesting. So I see ones for sale. Then I went and did some research on it. I ended up on a blog that's absolutely the first type of Amazon flip blog I talked about, where it's just reviews of every single product. What they have, similar to the toolbox page, is a top recommendations page. So they say, oh, if you want to see our top 10 recommendations for the best rowing machine in each budget, go to this page. So it's slightly different than a toolbox page. It matches their industry, but it's a page that lists basically all your affiliate links. That's what it really is. It's a page that lists all the stuff for sale. What you have then is your traffic pages, all these different reviews and descriptions of different products, bring people into your website, then they filter to that page, and then they make a decision. So it's a two-step before someone leaves your website and buys something. If you don't have a toolbox page, if you don't have a recommendations page, if you don't have a top product page, this is the first thing you should do, no matter where you are in your career. Even if it's an ugly page of list of text links, just do it. You'll actually make money from it. And when you do, you'll get inspired to make it prettier and prettier, add more links, do more things to make it awesome. I really encourage you to think of your blog as a business, as part of your business, and how it can generate revenue. Now, the one that we didn't talk about is what if you're selling your own stuff? So you may be bringing people in for the purpose of selling your one product, your one software tool, your software as a service product, whatever your main thing is. And if that's the case, you might be driving people directly to the sale, but even then, you're going to use a lot of these tools, have blog posts that drive people to that page. You're going to have a page where people can give you their email address. You want to capture that so you get multiple chances to communicate with them because a lot of people don't buy on the first visit. So some of these concepts still apply, and keep them in mind as you're structuring and strategizing and designing your blog, because you can make money from a blog. It can be the centerpiece of your business, and it's absolutely the centerpiece of mine.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Serve No Master. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. And we'll be back next Tuesday with more tips and tactics on how to escape that rat race. Head over to servenomaster.com/podcasts now for your chance to win a free copy of Jonathan's bestseller, Serve No Master. All you have to do is leave a 5-star review of this podcast. See you Tuesday.
You can't make serious money online unless you promote the right offers. Stop making pennies and start making dollars with my powerful free guide, Affiliate Unicorn, servenomaster.com/unicorn.